So, We're the Millers too. Like, is it happening? Is it not happening? You know, We're the Millers, the 2013 comedy. Jason Sudeikis, Jennifer Aniston, Will Poulter, Emma Roberts. Is the movie happening? Yes or no? And if it is happening, what's going to happen in the next movie? That's what I'm trying to think about. So I'm just going to give y'all like my theories about it. What's going to happen to the next characters? What's going to happen to David and his family?
I think the main question on a lot of people's minds is, how do you raise the stakes from the first one? How do you top something that was already so perfect? And that's where I come into play.
So if you remember at the end of the first movie, basically David and his family, they got, they got witness protection service, so they could actually, even though they were a fake family in the first movie, now they're a real family. Which I think that's a pretty cool twist. You don't expect it, because in the beginning they're a bunch of they're like the Guardians of the Galaxy. You don't really expect them to fit together, but at the end they do fit together, and I think that's really cool. They said in the first movie they had witness protection services for 6 months. So I have a guess that the next movie would start hypothetically 6 months later, when the witness protection service has expired. So I imagine the first scene's probably going to be something funny with the Nick Offerman character and his wife approaching the Millers at their new house and telling them, you gotta get out, you gotta book it. So I imagine that's a bit of funny banter. And then so they leave. And then I imagine, here's a twist, they're gonna go 5 years later, because they all disbanded. Because I think when you meet with the Millers 6 months later, they're still the Millers. It's still David. So they're all still doing their normal, they don't get along. That's what I'm trying to say. So how I imagine it is in the sequel, the Millers don't really get along very well. So what happens 5 years later? So David is probably trying to keep the family together. I think David wants to keep the family together, but the other three, they don't care. They don't really care. Jennifer Aniston's character, she doesn't care. Emma Roberts, the mean daughter, she definitely doesn't give a F. And Will Poulter's character, he wants the family to stay together, but he's got new things to worry on. If you remember the first movie, he had a girlfriend with Nick Offerman's character's daughter. So I have a feeling they're dating now. And maybe in the second, maybe 5 years later, they get married and they have a kid. Because he's 18 in the first one, if you remember that. He was 18.
I think they would have a son, and I think his name would be perhaps David Jr. Get it? Because David Jr. after David, Kenny's dad. Not really his dad. David. Now, I think Kenny Jr. should be played by someone like Julian Hilliard, the boy from WandaVision. I just think Julian can pull off playing two-sided characters very well. You like him one day, then you hate him the next day. And I think David is kind of two-sided, so it's kind of an Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. So when David sees David Jr., he's like, oh, this kid could be trouble. This kid could be trouble. He could be like me. So that's a little bit of a joke going on. I think there'll also be another funny dynamic between Rose and David Jr. because when they all meet back up 5 years later, it'll be like, oh, I have a grandson. And imagine Jennifer Aniston having the conversation like, I'm not that old, kid. Come on, I'm not that old. I just think.
Now, what are my fears for We're the Millers 2? Let's just say I have a lot of them, but that's normal for dealing with stuff like this, so it's fine. I was actually at a playground when I was thinking about this, but do you guys think that Will Poulter may be too big to play Kenny now? If you look at him now, because he's Adam Warlock in the Guardians movies, he's just really bulky. And and We're the Millers 1, let's just say he's kind of a shrimp compared to David and the rest of the family. Both physically and he doesn't have a lot of a strong self-esteem. Okay, granted, what they can do, which I kind of thought of this funny scene, is basically, it's 5 years later to deal with the time jump. When David and Rose meet back with Kenny, they see that Kenny is super big. And maybe Rose is like, Kenny, is that you? And then Rose is like, oh, come on, I'm not that old.
Thank you guys so much for watching my new video. Expect a lot more of these videos to come out over the summer. I know this is the first video of the summer, but I'm going to make sure to do a couple more parts of this. This isn't just the first part. This is a part in a series of videos that will be covering We're the Millers 2. This was just an intro video to it. But in the next videos, I'll be talking about new characters, who I would like to direct the movie, and maybe like the crew members. Maybe if I could make, maybe about like logistics of it, maybe if I could do a cameo in We're the Millers too, I think that would be really cool. I don't know. Also, I think they should make a Horrible Bosses 3. Who's with me? I know I am. Anyways, guys, this has been so much fun. It's been such a joy making this video. Every day I wake up and I'm so happy I get to make another video. And this is just one of many. So, Daily Movies. Stay tuned for a lot more great videos about We're the Millers and We're the Millers 2. And maybe I'll make a We're the Millers 1 recap video. I don't know. Just kind of playing that day by day. Who knows? Anyways, guys, I love you guys so much. And I can't wait to keep making videos for you guys about We're the Millers and We're the Millers 2.